You sow those seeds of that thought of pushing the boundaries and taking humanity to Mars. Right?
Absolutely. Maybe this vision may not be reached in our lifetime, maybe 2 generations later, but as you said, I'm consciously doing the groundwork, laying down the seeds with my students to really not just be the best version of themselves, but strive for greatness. Success is not always about starting a billion-dollar company, For me, it's also about having the freedom to spend time with my daughter. She's 5, and people have different priorities, and whatever way that they find success, go for the best. I teach creative math to the student in Israel, and sometimes there are bomb scares, there are sirens that go out in her apartment, and we have to cancel class because she has to go to a bomb shelter, things like that. Yeah. As parents, the kind of world we want to raise our children in has to be safe, right? And
absolutely,
a big part of this is getting along, which is not easy. We all have bad thoughts. But getting along is where peace on earth comes from.
As a company, as a business owner, how do you go about finding buyers to sell your company?
Great question.
What about the content of that email when you write to someone? What do you write in that?
So these days with ChatGPT, you can probably get AI's help. General format was a collaboration with gmatcard.com. That was a subject, and pleasantries. First of all, I feel any email I get, if it starts with a pleasantry, I hope this email finds you well, things like that. I think that's at least a good start.
Yeah.
And the next bit would be to showcase your knowledge of the company and what they do. I understand that you do this.
Of their company.
Of their company.
Okay.
That you do this, and then I do this that your customers might benefit from. Or do you want to start a new vertical of this in your company? I have this that I can offer you. Don't mention price to start with. Just create interest and showcase what you have to offer, and then do that.
Yeah.
And also, if you're selling a company for millions of dollars, definitely I would recommend getting a lawyer involved, because these transactions don't happen on emails alone. That's my understanding. I've never sold a $10 million company, but that's my understanding.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I think this is very, very important. The way you've put the actual content of what do you actually say. I think this will be very helpful.
And I think the audience should also recognize that when you sell your first company, it doesn't have to be $10 million, You could sell it for $50,000 and still make a big win,
Yeah.
And I think starting small is a good way to go.
Yeah.
Many young people these days think they should get a few $1 million of funding to start a company. It's not like that.
Yeah.
I feel if you're in India, maybe a few lakhs, or in Dubai, even the few 10,000, you can get a business license and get the ball rolling, get some customers and revenue, and then you can think of little bigger setups.
Yeah. And from your experience of that first company and also with the current company, right? Like you mentioned that success doesn't always mean creating a $1 billion enterprise and having
So true.
millions of,
So true. So true. I feel what being my own boss has given me the most is being able to spend time with my daughter. She's 5 years old, and I have a YouTube channel for her, which I wouldn't have been able to create if I was working a 9-to-5 job, or if I was scaling my startup. All my energy would have to, especially if I was scaling my startup, all my energy and all my funds would have to go into really taking it to the next level, hiring the right people, getting the right skill set if I don't have it, acquiring it. But instead of that, my family and me go on vacations, we travel the world. I have videos of my daughter in Azerbaijan, UK, and Paris.
Wow.
And these are blessings that I share.
Yeah.
That I would encourage people to ask themselves, what is it they want?
Yeah.
I think that's a very good question to ask yourself. I think it was Oprah who said, when you know what you want, the universe sort of levels up to get you what you want. I think in The Alchemist also, Paulo Coelho's, he talks about how the universe conspires to give you what you want, what you want.
But sometimes that what do you want is not an easy question to answer, right?
Absolutely, it's not easy at all.
Imagine, I mean, if you tell someone that, like, okay, there is a genie, okay, coming out of the bottle, and the genie will give you anything, one wish. What is it that you want the most? A lot of people may find it difficult to answer. I mean, just if you're just having a few drinks with your friends, and you might just like jokingly, you might just say, okay, I want like $10 million. But is that really what you want?
What would you do with the 10 million?
Exactly.
No, that's a good line of thought. Okay, 10 million. If that's the magic number, what would you do with the 10 million that you don't have now? Because material success is important. Don't get me wrong. It's luxury, wealth, being able to travel. These are all blessings. But true happiness comes from satisfying your material needs first. Definitely, you need to have food to eat, shelter, good house, family. But very often it's something internal, that the way you want to feel, or the experiences you want to have, or the sense of achievement. Very often selling a company, more than the money you get or what people say, it's about the achievement of going through the process of building something that has meaning. That the market accepts that I created this.
And somebody was willing to pay a price for that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Does that change over time? Like this definition of success, or what do you want, kind of the what you aim for over different phases of life?
Definitely, right? Definitely. But I think it's important to have one grand vision. Like for me, it's peace on earth and humanity on Mars. Something that I can fuel for the rest of my life in some way, And the way we fuel it is by having a good reason for it. That as parents, we want to give our children a safe world. We want them to strive for greatness. And there's no better reason to keep doing what we're doing, right? So I think a grand vision is important. And after that, yes, definitely different stages in our life. I think as we grow older, we tend to become more spiritual also. We find we think about what happens after death when certain circumstances arise.
There is another important topic that I wanted to cover with you, and especially ask your opinions on, and that's AI. You are a big proponent of AI. Definitely. And also in your LinkedIn profile, you've mentioned you've mentioned about your story and your entire profile. And at the end, I love that note where it says that PS, this above thing has been generated by AI. People don't do that usually, right? And the reason why people don't do that is people somehow want to hide from the world that the content that they have posted has been generated by AI, right? Because somewhere there is a bias.
So true.
What do you think about this bias? Is that fair, justified?
I think justified is a wrong word to use. It's there. The bias is there. I think that's the reality that even for me, when I see that a content is classified as AI content, I become a little averse to spend time and put effort to read it. But the fact of the matter is AI, just like any other important tool, the more skilled you are, the better you use it. And I love AI. I feel we are not too far from artificial general intelligence and a world where we are linked closer and closer to technology. But the biases are real. I was telling you this earlier, right? There's a YouTube sensation that I follow about who talks about "Don't touch my car," some entertainment content. That I think his name is Aiden Shankar, and he's European, originally French or Spanish, I'm not sure, but he's Indian of ethnic origin, and when people see him, he says they say go back to India. But he has a Corvette that he starts with his remote button. And when they realize that that's his car, they say, I'll come to India with you. So biases are there. There are stereotypes. I think we need to work with that. I think joking about it is a good idea. And as far as AI content goes, I think classifying it as AI is a good thing, because even the people I help to become published authors, I use AI. And initially, when I was marketing it as generate your book, I'll help you generate your book using artificial intelligence, people would get a little averse to saying that, oh, you're going to do it with AI, must be so easy, you know. But the idea is that AI is a tool that makes life easier, and if it makes life easier in a good way, use it for sure.
What about the creative ability? Like, if I have to write a 100-word essay, and instead of thinking and writing, like back 10 years ago, I would have sat down and written an essay. But today, I would say, like, I don't have to think about writing an essay. I'll just tell AI, and the AI will do it.
Great question. Now, the focus then was 100 words or 1,000 words. Today, the focus is the quality of the 100 words or 1,000 words. Before, we would do what we can to fill the page and get this done. Yeah. But I feel now, since we have AI, the gauge, the yardstick with which we measure this essay has to change, if it has not changed already. Teachers have to put more effort reading it, or we need another AI agent to read it and gauge it. How good is this content? What original thoughts were brought out? Because I feel personal stories become more and more important. What stories we bring to the table. And these can be generated using AI, like my LinkedIn profile snippet. But it requires more effort and more skill. The more you know yourself and your experience, the easier it becomes to use a tool like AI and write 100 words or 1,000 words. So I think with time, the differences are not qualitative; they're only quantitative. You know, that's something my mom told me actually when I was growing up. The differences between generations to generations are only quantitative; they're not qualitative. I was like, oh my God, my mom's talking like this. She's a woman of few words, especially while growing up.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's a very, very interesting point you brought up. Like, if you tell AI to generate your story, right, which is what in that profile of example that we've just taken that as an example.
Sure.
So AI doesn't know who Abhishek Gurumadhva is, right? Like, just to begin with. So you have to give it the right prompts. You have to give it all the facts. Now, AI is packaging that in a way that 10 years ago you would have done it yourself, but now it's about how AI can package that in a different way.
Correct. So a good hack for ChatGPT is act as a podcaster who's been in Dubai for so many years, who's originally Indian, and interviewing a global educator, and give the question like, how would this podcast probably go? Just that much background information will give you something related to what we talked about.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So acting as someone, telling the AI to act as someone, and one more good hack would be to tell the AI to improve itself or particular aspects of itself. I feel just these two hacks can upskill people who use ChatGPT. You know, act as and make this better in a particular way.
Talking of AI, so whenever we say AI, we generally refer to ChatGPT.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
But there is Gemini out there.
Midjourney
There's Bing, Copilot.
But Midjourney for the images, I think that's so important. I've taught a student to use Midjourney because there are some prompts that you use with Midjourney that make the image quality a certain way. Now, I've co-authored a coloring book that I created using Midjourney for kids. You know, it's called Mighty Builders. That's available on Amazon.com. If you search for my name, you'll find a couple of coloring books. But all these AI tools, I feel the more you use it with guidance, you know, you don't want to be in a forest and just get lost in it, or just play with sand, put it from one glass to the other. You want to put some water and build a sand castle. And there has to be some guidance, some direction for that. This is where someone who's actually walked the path, a mentor, can really help. You also know that, Sachin. I'm sure that there are people that anyone with a certain level of success has looked up to before and has been guided in a certain way. And to have a good teacher, a good mentor, or a spiritual guru, is such a blessing.
Absolutely. I was talking about like the different brands that are available out there, the different AI tools that are available out there, right? So just the same thing that ChatGPT does also is done by Copilot, by Gemini, by Google. So Microsoft's Copilot. Yeah. What's the do you have a preference among these, and what's the difference between these tools?
For long form content, I prefer ChatGPT.
Long form content.
Yeah. Just because it's easier to sort of scrap that from large text. Like when I generate a book, I use ChatGPT, and it's easier to correct and all that. But when I want real time information, I use Gemini, and I tried getting access to Grok, but there was some issue with signing up for X. But Grok also, I feel, is a very good AI that is on X now for premium customers.
Okay.
And there are others, Perplexity, I think it's called, and so many others, so many large language models if you're willing to do a little coding.
Yeah.
Claude, Anthropod, I think it is called.
Okay.
But learning how to code also has helped me understand AI better, understand what happens under the hood. I don't code regularly, but during my MSc in artificial intelligence, I was introduced to Python, I was introduced to machine learning.
Okay.
So that was before the big spike in AI after ChatGPT. It was a 2-year course. Yeah. So I started my course. Just in the end of my 2-year course, ChatGPT came out and there was AI everywhere. But really understanding what happens behind the hood has given me a better appreciation for AI and all the work. Sometimes there are biases hard-coded into AI that because of the way the AI is made, because the data that is collected, sometimes there are biases that we don't want,
So what you're saying is AI is the reality of today. So we can't like just, run away from it and say that, don't use AI.
Like desktops in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. Back then it was like,
something new. And people who are a little senior, who had experienced life in a different way, had to really learn the skill. And the people who did could interact with the youngsters better, could use technology so much better.
Yeah. Like, even the latest technologies, like even smartphones, right? There is always an aversion about that. Like, people are using smartphones too much for everything. But then that's the reality. Yes.
So true. Yeah. Many kids want to become YouTubers. And I knew that when my daughter goes into grade 1, she'll start telling me about becoming a YouTuber, because all these kids watch so much YouTube, and I was very specific about my daughter watching YouTube Kids and not the normal YouTube. But we started her YouTube channel, I think, 1.5 years ago when she was about 3.5.
Okay.
And it gives me a reason to document all the happy moments of her life and share blessings. That's what I keep my theme for her channel. Okay. And when she grows a little older, hopefully she'll have the option of becoming a YouTuber. I'll give her access to the channel to manage the channel.
Yeah.
And
so this channel is about like her childhood, things. Yeah. What is it called?
Ava as Ava. AVA. Avalokana as Avalokana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a Creative School YouTube channel also, but that's for my content and
right.
K for Creative. Right. But I think creating content is what I encourage everyone to do. I tell people that no matter what age you are, creating content may not be like top quality content like you're a professional, or even me who's experienced, I've been doing it for years, you have to start somewhere. And the first picture you upload or the first video you make and upload is the first step to hopefully thousands of more.
Yeah, yeah. So Abhishek, looking back at your journey, like the way things have evolved in your life, right? For someone who is at that beginning of their career, they just about like finish their education, they're about to start get into the corporate or the business world, the entrepreneurship world. What's your advice for them?
Gain experience for 2 years, make some money, start investing early. And by investing, it could be like small amounts. Like if you're in the Indian subcontinent, 5,000 rupees per month, put it for 5 years and then take it out in 20 years. You'll end up getting 80 lakhs if the markets are doing well, 1 crore, things like that. So, but starting a business, I feel, should be done on the side and in a small way when you are beginning your career. Your passion that aligns with market needs has to be identified, and that has to be fueled on the side, because putting either taking money from family or getting investors, because getting investor money, if you have the right skills, is not difficult. And there are people willing to fund a good founder, willing to fund a good idea. But is that what you really want? Is the question that you should ask yourself.
I love the way you put it. Your passion aligned with the market needs.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because a connection between the producer and consumer, that makes money. If you produce something that nobody wants, maybe you'll be satisfied. Maybe 10 years from now, if you keep doing it, you'll suddenly blow up. It's possible, but it won't immediately make money. And when money comes, when customers come, it fuels your idea, it fuels your drive, it validates it, right? When you get appreciation and financial, it doesn't have to be success also, some revenue that can sustain a business. I think that's when you know your idea has worked,
Absolutely, yeah. So, and that's the validation of it, right? Like if you've created value for someone, that someone is willing to pay for it. Like you said about the company, right? You generated a company, you've created a company, and you've taken it to a level where people are willing to pay for it. That is the validation that you've added actual value for someone.
So true. Very gratifying. So true.
Yeah.
And I think the mindset is to add value, but so difficult to implement. Because earlier when I was starting my business in 2010, I listened to many motivational speakers, and the idea was to start a business to add value, and that's what will make money. But to put this into practice, I think the gap between what we do on a daily basis and adding value comes with a certain, I don't want to say mindset because that word is overused so much. It comes with a certain way of living and going the extra mile, even though direct outcomes are not present, and doing something without expecting too much in return. If someone says, do this and it'll be good, do a little more and hopefully it'll get better, yeah?
Wow.
Yeah, because nothing is certain, right, Sachin?
Yeah.
We want to take risks, and everyone has a different appetite for risk.
Yeah.
And some people are risk averse, and for whatever reason, but you want to take at least a certain amount of calculated risk and really push yourself, I feel, especially when you're young,
Yeah.
Really work hard. And people say that you want to work smart and not hard, but when people who work smart work hard, that's when magic happens.
That's powerful then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Abhishek, one last question as we wrap up here. How was your experience being on the Be Your Own Boss podcast?
So I know you from earlier, Sachin. So it's like talking to a friend with cameras on, and hopefully the world appreciates your work more and more. I've been seeing that more people are getting access to the information you are offering, and the amazing guests that come on your podcast and the information they share. I'm so happy to be here and be part of your professional journey with this podcast. I wish you well. God bless.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thank you so much. Really means a lot to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was Abhishek Gurumadhva, the global educator, published author, and the founder of Kreative School. And don't forget, peace on earth and humanity on Mars. That's his vision. Let's hope we all achieve it together. And stay tuned to the Be Your Own Boss podcast. We'll keep bringing in more such interesting content. And do let us know in the comments what you liked and what you did not like about the content. So if we can, whatever you want us to improve on, we'll work on that and we'll improve it. So thank you so much for watching. You've been watching and listening to Be Your Own Boss.